India isn't picking sides, not in the Russia Ukraine war, not in the tense standoff between the United States and China. While the world's superpowers draw lines in the sand, India is charting a different course. Something bigger is happening. A quiet shift that could change the shape of global power. Is India aiming to become the world's referee? In global politics, a referee isn't someone with a whistle or a yellow card. It's a nation that stays above the fray, refusing to be dragged into alliances or rivalries, yet still commanding respect from everyone on the field. This country doesn't just watch from the sidelines, it shapes the rules, calms the chaos, and keeps the game going. Right now, India is stepping into that space, a neutral voice, a negotiator, a bridge between East and West. When the world is divided, India's position is unique. It isn't beholden to any one camp, and that gives its words extra weight. Let's look at how India is playing this role in real time. Start with the Russia-Ukraine war. When the West rolled out sweeping sanctions against Moscow, India didn't blindly follow. Instead, it kept its long-standing ties with Russia, especially in energy and defense. But India didn't give Russia a free pass either. At global summits, Indian leaders have repeatedly called for dialogue and peace, refusing to endorse aggression while still protecting their own interests. This balancing act has annoyed some Western capitals, but it's won India credibility as a potential mediator. Then there's the tense rivalry between the United States and China. Many countries feel squeezed, forced to choose between the world's two biggest economies. India, however, has refused to play that game. Instead of drama, India focuses on stability and trade, even as it competes with China in Asia and partners with the US in forums like the Quad. India's approach is subtle: push back quietly against threats, such as border clashes with China, but keep the channels of diplomacy open. In June 2025, for example, India's defense minister met with his Chinese counterpart on the sidelines of a major security summit, calling for a structured roadmap to resolve border disputes, an effort to bridge the trust deficit and cool tensions. Look at India's leadership in global forums. It doesn't just belong to one club, it's leading several. India helped steer both the G20 and BRICS, groups that usually don't see eye to eye. During its G20 presidency, India pushed for the inclusion of the African Union, making the club more inclusive and amplifying the voice of the global South. At the same time, India remains a key player in BRICS, a bloc that often challenges Western dominance. In the Quad, India works closely with the US, Japan, and Australia to promote a free and open Indo-Pacific. India is not just sitting at the table, it's sitting at all the tables, speaking for countries that often feel left out. So why does the world care what India thinks? Part of it is economic muscle. India is now the fifth largest economy on earth, a giant market that no one can afford to ignore. But there's more to it than money. India draws on the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. His philosophy of non-violence and dialogue still echoes in Indian diplomacy. India isn't part of NATO or any hard military alliance. It's not locked into someone else's agenda. And most importantly, India is the voice of the global South. Hundreds of countries that have spent decades feeling sidelined by the old power blocks. When India speaks, much of the world feels heard. That doesn't mean neutrality is easy. If anything, it's harder than taking sides. The West wants India to take a stronger stand, especially on Russia and sometimes on China. Russia, in turn, expects loyalty from its old friend. China is a constant challenge, with border disputes and a history of military standoffs. And then there's Pakistan. Tensions remain high, with periodic flare-ups over territory and terrorism. Every move India makes has consequences. One wrong step, and India risks angering someone powerful. It's a delicate game of 4D chess, played out in real time, on a world stage that's more unpredictable than ever. But if India can keep this up, the potential rewards are huge. India wouldn't just be a rising power, it could become the moral voice of a new global order. Not a superpower that threatens or dominates, but one that connects. Not a bully, but a bridge. That's rare in international politics. And it's powerful. In a world where alliances are shifting and trust is in short supply, India's steady, measured approach stands out. So, is India already the world's referee? Maybe not completely. The transition from rising power to global umpire is still underway, but the signs are clear. More and more countries are turning to India. Not to fight, but to fix. India is being asked to mediate, to suggest, to calm things down. And in a world full of shouting, India's quiet, balanced voice is getting harder to ignore. Think about what that means for the future. As global tensions keep rising, the need for a referee, someone who can mediate, negotiate, and build bridges, will only grow. India's unique mix of neutrality, economic strength, and diplomatic credibility gives it a shot at playing that role. If it succeeds, it could usher in a more multipolar world where power is shared more widely and disputes are resolved through dialogue, not force. Now let's flip the question to you. Can India truly become the world's referee? Or is this just a moment in the spotlight? What would it take for India to make the leap from neutral power to global umpire? And does the world really want a referee? Or just another superpower on their side? If you've learned something new, think about how India's approach could change the future of international relations. The world is watching and the stakes are high. Stay curious and keep asking questions.